25 years ago that what kind of person he was. But initially, I'm just being honest, I didn't believe him. I had to see it for myself.
Yeah.
And my description of him, he's a horrible person.
Leonard Ellerbe left his job of decades with Floyd Mayweather just to be with Gervonta Davis. And right before his eyes, Gervonta Davis is making one of the most irrational decisions of his career. And this goes not only to prove how impulsive, ungrateful Gervonta Davis can be, it also shows how unwise it was for Leonard Ellerbe to leave Floyd Mayweather for Gervonta Davis. At the moment, even Leonard Ellerbe has no confidence in his job security, seeing the extent to which Gervonta Davis has gone just because of an issue that could be settled amicably.
And I'm like, okay, I feel
Why would he like him? Why would he like him? He's a great fighter, but he's a horrible, horrible person.
Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis have a tumultuous relationship, and both are doing everything to get back at each other. The pair have a lot of friends as acquaintances in common, including Leonard Ellerbe and Calvin Ford. For Floyd Mayweather Jr., he expected more loyalty from Leonard Ellerbe, seeing how far they've come with each other, and how Leonard Ellerbe only built a relationship with Gervonta Davis through Floyd Mayweather. However, once Leonard Ellerbe tried to play mediating games between Floyd and Tank Davis, Floyd decided to cut him off, as he wanted him to pick sides.
So I'm sure that he ain't gonna change. He's gonna be who he is, and again, he don't bother me. I don't think 2 seconds about none of that because he's not on my level.
Similarly, Tank Davis expects Calvin Ford's loyalty to be on his side, having had him as his trainer since the beginning of his career. However, while Calvin Ford didn't necessarily sit on the fence, Gervonta Davis expected more from him. To Gervonta Davis, Calvin Ford shouldn't be passive or euphemistic whenever the name of Floyd Mayweather was called. He expected him to display the level of uncensored derogation that characterized his own approach towards Floyd Mayweather. And once he didn't do that, Gervonta Davis decided to cut him off.
Fans watching this would be like, oh, why does Leonard feel this way? Like, I've been covering the sport. I know the relationship, but they're going to be
History will tell you everything you need to know about him.
This exactly is what has pissed Leonard Ellerbe off, and the boxing promoter may really be considering moving on from Tank Davis. Can't make this stuff on, man. It makes no sense anymore. Leonard Ellerbe can only hope Tank doesn't turn his back against him, like he did to Calvin Ford. Perhaps he could always find some assurance in the manner Gervonta Davis approached the news of his split from Mayweather Promotions.
I'd like to thank the MGM, Premier Boxing Champions, and Amazon Prime. Saturday night. Can't get here fast enough.
Coming off his 8th round knockout of Frank Martin, Gervonta Davis spoke on the split between Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe. Perhaps because of his busy schedule before the fight, he had only posted tweets and captions on social media.
His contract ran out, and that's fine. But as I always say, contracts.
First, Gervonta Tank Davis shared an Instagram story where Mayweather is seen shaking hands with Richard Schaefer and wrote, "If you sign with this fraud, he will mess up your career. He's not a good businessman at all." Gervonta Davis then quickly followed that up with a post on his favorite social media platform, X, formerly Twitter, by posting a tweet. Writing, "Floyd is a bitter idiot." As you would expect of typical Gervonta Davis, he deleted the tweet not too long after posting it. However, the news remains a blow, given the uncertainty surrounding PBC. However, after his 30th conquest in the squared circle, Gervonta Davis has now shared his honest opinion on the latest happening at Mayweather Promotions. The title bout headlined the 100th championship boxing event in the arena's history, which dates back to 1993. And following such an historic victory for him, Gervonta Davis has finally commented on Floyd Mayweather's sack of Leonard Ellerbe. He said in a tweet before deleting that Floyd Mayweather Jr. was never one interested in anyone's progress, rather he wants everything to be about him. He claimed Floyd Mayweather wanted everyone's greatness to be linked to him, so he gets the praises for being the one behind their greatness. During his press conference with Frank Martin, when the news first broke, he was seen telling Errol Spence how much he hated Floyd Mayweather.
No, you don't, nigga. No, you don't, nigga. Yeah, you don't like Floyd or Landon? No, you don't.
EJ do the trash talk, make you miss boxing, you ready to come?
He said, "I hate Floyd, I hate Floyd." In a now deleted tweet, Gervonta Davis said, "Floyd wants everything linked to him. He's a bad person, cares about no one but himself. The worst man in any team. Everyone, get you Leonard." While Tank Davis's beef with Floyd Mayweather must have played a part in his response this time, it must be remembered that Devin Haney had made a similar complaint about Floyd Mayweather when they had an issue over the sparring session that has now been fully leaked. Shortly before the April 20th fight between Ryan Garcia posted the clip on his social media alongside the caption, "Gervonta Tank Davis rocks Devin Haney," with the video showing Adrian Bronner having to step in as Tank appeared to leave his session partner slightly unsteady on his feet.
You asked the question. It ain't even worth asking because it was a one-way deal.
However, it was clear that Haney was unimpressed with the online antics of his upcoming opponent, as he later took to X to shoot down any suggestions that the footage is contemporaneous. He asserted, "Never did they post a chopped-up edited video. 16 years old and in there holding my own. We bet AB pops and he honored it and paid," he said as he clarified the context surrounding the clip, claiming it was historic footage. "Ryan, we watched you quit. We are not the same and never will be. Tuned in April 20th. I'll show it," he added. As a result, Devin Haney blasted Floyd Mayweather Jr. for the very first time after supposedly leaking footage of his sparring with Gervonta Tank Davis. Haney took to X and tweeted, "Floyd has been hating a long time," he wrote. "This ain't just starting. I held my tongue for years because I respect the greats of the sport. But dude is a bona fide hater that doesn't want to see nobody win if he's not a part of it." "I know he sent Ryan the sparring. I know he gave Ryan those pimp comments to say, 'Miserable old man tried to stop the fight. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy he revealed himself to the world.'" Evidently, Devin Haney said this about Floyd Mayweather, and now Gervonta Davis is saying the same thing. Floyd Mayweather is like a king who sits on the throne and wields his power whichever way he wants. Earlier, in order to get back at Devin Haney, he released only a few seconds of the clip to Ryan Garcia. However, when it was time to taunt Gervonta Davis, he instead posted the full video. Following Gervonta Davis's win against Frank Martin, the former lightweight champion uploaded a video of a training session between Davis and Devin Haney to his Instagram account. To see Floyd and Gervonta end this was after coming such a long way together is disheartening. Mayweather met Davis in 2015, and almost immediately, the former champion could see the young boxer's potential and gave him a contract with his company, Mayweather Promotions.
Tank Davis, he was a young kid, came up to me when he was a kid, wanted an autograph. I signed his phone for him and told him, "You'll be world champion someday, and I'll be your promoter." Years later, he was working with some people from our team because our team is huge. We got guys in DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York, all around.
The relationship lasted about 7 years and brought large profits to both parties. However, the relationship ended in 2022 amid serious accusations from Tank Davis against Mayweather Promotions. In a video he uploaded to his social media, the featherweight champion warned other boxers not to sign with the company at the risk of seeing their career seriously damaged. The relationship between Davis and Mayweather has been strained since then. Although they have sometimes been seen on friendly terms, verbal exchanges on social media between the two are frequent. The most recent episode was this weekend when Mayweather posted an old video of his former pupil.
He won a few fights. I think he was like 8 or 9-0. I told him, in under 24 months, you'll be world champion. Made the right moves, put him in the right position. He's a multi-millionaire.
Sadly, things have become very sour between the two stars, and the most recent situation began on social media, where he sent his former mentor a knockout warning following some controversial happenings between the both of them.
I disagree. What a big win that was for Canelo.
Eddie Hearn and Leonard Ellerbe have always been at war, but yesterday, at the grand arrival of the Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight, the pair seemed to be forming the best of friendships until a discussion about Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis was brought up.
I don't care what he says. If there's a fight to be made, if there's money to be made, if there's an opportunity for a fighter, I'm all in. I don't care who it is. Whether it's Leonard, Al, Oscar, Bob.
What was initially an atmosphere of friendship quickly dissolved into disagreement and chaos once the interviewer questioned the pair of boxing promoters on the possibility of a Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson fight. Once the topic of Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson, the newest signee of Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing Promotions, was introduced, each promoter took the side of his fighter and got into a hot debate with the other. It got so heated that Ellerbe cut Eddie Hearn in between his interview to prove his point, while Hearn, on the other hand, warned him against making the statement he was making. They disagreed so badly that Hearn was clearly having a heated exchange with him and disrespecting him before an awkward silence was restored between them. Leonard Ellerbe argued back and forth about a potential mega fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. I feel like we've got a two-fight plan with Shakur. Hopefully he extends. Joe Cordina, Zepeda in February. I think that Tank against Shakur is one of the biggest fights in the sport.
Shakur's the man to beat.
Shakur cannot fuck with Tank. Now, once again, here in September of 2024, retaking Mexican Independence Day weekend against
Hearn told Ellerbe that World Boxing Association regular lightweight champion Tank Davis needs World Boxing Council champ Shakur Stevenson to give him a real fight, and that the two of them would make for a huge mega clash. Understandably, Hearn is in a mad rush for Shakur to get the fight against Tank Davis. The British promoter Hearn signed Shakur to a two-fight deal with his Matchroom company, which some view as an escape route. The way Shakur looked in his last two fights, he'll lose sooner or later against one of the contenders, and he'll be useless to Hearn once that happens. Ellerbe argued that Shakur can't beat Tank, and the fight between them will eventually happen.
It's a process. It's a process. It's a process. For anybody.
Obviously, you've got your guy, Tank. He's got his guy now, Shakur. If that fight was to happen, how do you think it goes?
The gist of what Ellerbe was saying to Hearn is that the Tank versus Shakur fight is not ready to happen. Ellerbe is not saying when, but it seems it needs more time. Eddie Hearn hypes up Cordina as dangerous fight for Shakur Stevenson. Shakur's stock is too low right now for Tank to fight him. Stevenson is coming off consecutive lackluster fights against Artem Hartuyunian and Edwin de los Santos. Shakur needs a couple of solid wins over Joe Cordina and William Zepeda before a match between him and Tank would be a viable option.
At one point,
It's probably because of you.
it's before my time.
What fuckers do is you put up a little headline and no one watches the interview, they just read the headline.
Tank will be back before the end of the year. We're looking at a couple of guys right now, said promoter Leonard Ellerbe to the media about Gervonta Tank Davis planning on fighting before the end of 2024. As it relates to the Shakur Stevenson fight, Tank wants him, but it's all about the timing of everything. I know we've got a two-fight plan with Shakur. Hopefully he extends. Joe Cordina on October 12th and Zepeda in February, said Eddie Hearn about his plans for Shakur Stevenson. I think Tank against Shakur is one of the biggest fights in the sport. I think Tank is so exceptional that it's going to take someone as good as Shakur to give him a real fight. And I love that fight, said Hearn.
Massive beef, Hearn slams Ellerbe. Do you know what I mean? And then
Is this the first time you two have actually met, as in spoken maybe?
He won't beat Tank. Shakur can't beat Tank, said Ellerbe. I disagree. Tank loses rounds, said Hearn. Tank decides to do what he wants to do in certain fights, said Ellerbe. Me and you can have a bet on that fight, said Hearn. Most definitely, said Ellerbe. I think Shakur is the man to beat him, said Hearn, reiterating his belief that he thinks Stevenson can beat Tank Davis.
No, we actually sat down and had coffee. It was some years ago. James Nagel Badu. Yeah.
Shakur cannot beat Tank. He's a very good fighter. I have a lot of respect for him with what he's done in the ring, and he has a good team around him. He can't beat Tank, said Ellerbe. I disagree with you on that, said Hearn. I don't want to get into details. He's won every fight he's had in the ring, but the business is always different, said Ellerbe. We all know what Tank brings to the table. Every time he comes out, you get this massive amount of media and fans that Canelo Alvarez is drawing for his fight this Saturday night against Edgar Berlanga.
Yeah. That was some years ago.
Talk to me about that coffee date, though, because obviously it didn't go too well, because then you started all the beef.
No, we actually talking about.
So, he's going to keep doing what he's doing, and inevitably those two, Tank and Shakur, will meet in the ring. It will happen. It will definitely happen, said Ellerbe. I agree with you. I'll say this about Shakur. His fire has been dampened for a long time by people at Top Rank that knew he was going to leave at the end of his contract. He did a big gate in Newark for the Artem Harutyunyan fight on July 6th in New Jersey, said Hearn about Shakur. He was the highest rated fighter on ESPN this year. Shakur does big numbers, but I didn't want to tell everyone that he does big numbers. If we keep building him, and he comes up against a commercial giant like Tank, Shakur against Tank is one of the great American fights and one of the biggest fights in boxing, said Hearn.
Doing what him and Frank just did. Yeah. We actually talked about that. It was his idea, and I was like, I was with it. It just didn't come to fruition.
He's a good fighter. What else do you want me to say? He just can't beat Tank, said Ellerbe about Stevenson. I think your guy Tank needs challenges. He's that good, said Hearn to Ellerbe. Shakur Cordina on PPV. He challenges himself, said Ellerbe, brushing off Hearn. There's no one out there that will give him a real fight, said Hearn.
Talking to him, you guys go back and forth a lot.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't register with me. It's just another promoter in the game. Pleasant.
Hearn and Ellerbe have been embroiled in a long-standing war of words, with the Mayweather Promotions CEO critical of the Brit ever since he entered the U.S. market in 2018 with his Matchroom USA venture. However, they had their first chance at a possible settlement when Hearn announced Crawford versus Madrimov, an event that will be presented by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority of Saudi Arabia, and will mark the first Riyadh season event outside of the kingdom. The card features several premier boxing champions fighters, whom Ellerbe works closely with, including Andy Ruiz Jr., who faces Jarrell Miller, and Isaac Cruz, who meets Jose Valenzuela. Despite years of back and forth, Ellerbe has commended the Matchroom chairman for his involvement in putting on this card.
From my side and from his side, do you know what I mean? Obviously, there hasn't been any beef for a while. I think at one point, it was getting a little bit spicy.
Yeah.
You've got to give Hearn credit too, Ellerbe told FightHype.com. Again, I'm not a hater. That's one thing I'm not. A lot of people take things the wrong way because, I'm critical of certain things. I call things as I see it. I give credit where credit is due. Good job with putting all of this together. You've got to give Luis de Cubas credit too, and the other promoters who were involved with helping put it together. It's an enormous card, and you would actually have to be a hater to not like it.
I watched it, I was quite surprised. I mean, this is a 58-year-old man, I think he is, or something like that, saying that he's in the gym hitting the bag. I mean, I'm definitely not in the gym here.
It's great for boxing, and I'm excited for it. The pair really began their feud after Gervonta Davis began rumors about leaving Mayweather Promotions. Hearn has never been shy about making enemies in the boxing business, and it looks like he has a new one in Leonard Ellerbe. Ellerbe served as Floyd Mayweather's longtime financial manager, and it's safe to say he did not approve of the way Hearn spoke about his fighter. With Davis claiming that he would end his partnership with Mayweather Promotions, Hearn jumped on the opportunity. Despite this, Ellerbe discussed the issue on The Last Stand with Brian Cluster for Showtime, where he said,
"Play that game. I'm not going to allow him to disrespect me."
People send me that kind of stuff, like, have you seen this from Leonard Ellerbe? I can't even tell you, my pulse.
He's Hearn's a clown, and everybody knows that. That's why you just laugh. I try to be as professional as I can possibly be, but he's the one guy that I can possibly say that if I had the opportunity, I'd stomp him out. Eddie Hearn has since responded to Ellerbe's comments when being interviewed by IFL TV, where he comedically spun the words of the famous song Ain't No Sunshine and sang, "Ain't no sunshine when Tank's gone, feel the pain when he goes away. Ain't no sunshine when Tank's gone, oh Leonard Ellerbe, why are you so obsessed with me?"
Doesn't move one spot when I see that, because let's be honest, right? In the position that I'm in and the dreams and the goals that I have,
Leonard Ellerbe has absolutely no relevance.
After Eddie Hearn responded to Leonard Ellerbe's comments when being interviewed by IFL TV, where he comedically spun the words of the famous song Ain't No Sunshine and sang, Mayweather Promotions boss Leonard Ellerbe told fellow promoter Eddie Hearn to stop playing games after offering to fight him. Hearn had teased the idea of stepping in the ring against Ellerbe after the pair had gone back and forth in the media over the past year. The Matchroom boxing boss constantly mocks Ellerbe over his repeated threats towards him, with the American threatening to stomp Hearn out of the US boxing market.
But also, like, time is a healer, and it doesn't matter who it is. When I see someone, I'm respectful. You know, you guys want interviews, you want good content.
Ellerbe claimed Hearn doesn't know what he is doing and wants to be bigger than his fighters, but the British promoter has no idea where his rival's disdain for him has come from. Ellerbe is seemingly at breaking point with Hearn and fired back at his fight offer on Twitter. Look, idiot, stop playing with me. I'm not going to play these kid games with you. It's fun and games to you until stuff get real, Ellerbe wrote to Hearn. The British promoter, who admitted he has been training for a big opportunity, recently opened up as a massive favorite in a potential fight against Ellerbe. Everyone sent me those odds 1/3. I wonder what Leonard Ellerbe weighs at the moment, because I'm nearly 16 stone now. I've lost like 2.5 stone. I'm training for this opportunity, not for that opportunity with Leonard, but for this big opportunity that will probably present itself soon, Hearn told IFL TV. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.